Stop parenting your team. Stop parenting your team. This is our topic for today. Yeah, I said it. Stop parenting your team. Man, I talk to a lot of you, and thank you so much for sending questions, for asking questions, for sending some of the challenges that you're going through. A lot of those challenges for new team managers or for small business CEOs who want to scale their teams, to grow their teams, they want to build dream teams. One of the big challenges is around team communication. And yeah, communication is big. It covers so many aspects that it feels so overwhelming, right? You don't even know, what do I start with? Where do I go? One big mistake that I've seen a lot of, especially new team managers do, or any new leaders of people and teams, is because they want to build dream teams, because they want to be dream bosses, they don't want to be just another manager. They want to make a difference. They don't want to be just another leader. They want to make a difference. And so they get so caught up into, yeah, let's make a difference and let's do this. And I'm going to be that dream boss. And sometimes they think that being a dream boss, meaning I'm going to cover all bases and I am going to do everything. I'm going to come up with all of the solutions. I'm going to solve everything. I'm going to do it all so that my team knows that they can count on me. That's what I find is super, super dangerous, because it's not up to you. Being a leader doesn't mean that. Being a leader doesn't mean I need to fix all of my team problems, because it doesn't work this way. And we're going to see why it doesn't work this way. And before we start, I wanted to ask you a question. What is your experience working with your best boss? How did you feel? It's all about that, right? I love Maya Angelou quote that says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. So let's go there. And for you, how did you feel working for your dream boss? Working for your best boss? How did that make you feel? Did you feel what? What's the feeling there? I'm really curious about that. How did you feel working? I hope you had a dream boss that you were working with at some point. Most of the times, the responses that we're getting are around, I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt appreciated. I felt empowered. That's the feeling. I felt I could contribute. I felt I had a purpose. I felt I knew my mission. That's how it felt. What are some of the feelings there for you? Think about it. Think about it, because if you're leading a team right now, that's a question for them as well. Right? How does working with you as their dream boss make them feel? And the question here goes more, I want to get a little bit deeper into this. So I want to talk about a theory that I find is so relevant, and that's going to help you stop getting into that parenting mode And not just to improve communication with your team, but also to increase motivation and engagement. And you know what that does? That's going to give you the best results ever. That's going to give you the results that you're after, the productivity, the efficiency, the working well together, the happy clients. That's what this is going to give you. And this is a theory that Douglas McGregor came up with in his book, The Working Human, which, by the way, I absolutely recommend, especially if you're leading people in teams, if you're new and leading people in teams and are not sure of where to start, what do I need to do, how do I motivate them? Well, is it really the case of you motivating everybody? Where does motivation come from? Like, we have a ton to discuss around that. But look at this, and let's have a look at your theory about other people. And I want you to follow, we have two theories, theory X and theory Y. And they all measure on these 5 measurement scales, like attitude, direction, responsibility, motivation, and creativity. So in theory X, and now think about what you believe to be true about the others when they work. So we're talking about people at work. So what are your theories around other people? What is it that you believe? Theory X says people dislike work, find it boring, and will avoid it if they can. That's the attitude. Also, theory X says people must be forced or bribed to make the right effort. So we need to give them the direction. We have to force them in that direction. When it comes to responsibility, do you believe that people would rather be directed than accept responsibility, which, by the way, they avoid? When it comes to motivation, what do you believe? Do you believe that people are motivated mainly by money and fear about their job security? And also, when it comes to creativity, do you believe that most people have little creativity, except when it comes to getting around rules? That's when people get creative. So look at this and ponder for a moment and see if this is what you believe about how other people work. What makes them motivated? What's their attitude? Or theory Y, do you believe that people need to work and want to take an interest in work? And that under the right condition, they can enjoy it? Or that people will direct themselves towards a target that they accept? Or that they will seek and accept responsibility under the right conditions? Or that they're motivated by the desire to realize their own potential under the right conditions? And also, do you believe that creativity and ingenuity are widely distributed and grossly underused? So look at these theories. Theory X, theory Y. What do you think? Where would you put the people, other people, the others around you? Would you put them in theory X or rather theory Y? You can share, if you can, in the comments, what is the theory, right? Like, what would you say about them? Now, let's look further. So you have your answer about what you believe to be true about other people at work, right? You do? Are you ready? I hope you are. Okay. So now go through the same exercise with your theory about yourself. And again, theory X. People dislike work. So I dislike work, find it boring, and will avoid it if I can. I will be forced and bribed to make the right effort. I would rather be directed than accept responsibility, which, by the way, I avoid. Or I'm motivated mainly by money and fear about my job security. Or I have little creativity except when it comes to getting around rules. That's what Theory X says about working people. Or are you in Theory Y? I need to work and want to take an interest in it. And under the right conditions, I can enjoy it. Or I will direct myself towards a target that I accept. Or I will seek and accept responsibility under the right conditions. Or under the right conditions, I am motivated by the desire to realize my own potential. And really, creativity and ingenuity, I distribute them widely and they're grossly underused. So when you think about yourself, where will you put yourself? Which theory applies to you compared to which theory applies to others? Are you in theory X or are you in theory Y? Where are you? How do you see yourself? Well, let me tell you this. If you're like most of us working humans, by the way, what will happen is you've put yourself in theory Y. And when it comes to others, you kind of either are undecided to put them either in theory X or Y or a combination of X and Y, but only that it doesn't really work this way. Or you've placed them in X. Now, here's the trick. Do this exercise. Imagine that you're doing this exercise in a room full of people. And you're asking them to choose where they place themselves and where they place others, theory X or theory Y. Guess what happens? Guess what happens? Most of them, the majority, like 99%, will say about themselves that they are under theory Y. So they are those people who need to work and take an interest in it, who direct themselves, who take responsibility, who are motivated because they want to reach their full potential, and who are creative and feel that their creativity is so underutilized. This is what most of us individually will say about ourselves. So here's the thing. If we all think that about ourselves, how do you think it feels when we apply the exact opposite to the people that we're leading? When we don't think that they can take responsibility and that they go for that intrinsic motivation, that they're motivated by anything else rather than money or fear. What do you think happens? We get into that stage where we feel like we have to do everything for them, not with them, but for them. We need to motivate them. We need to come up with ideas. We need to make it a great work environment. We need to have all of those creative ideas around what we need to do as a team. And we forget to ask. We forget to ask for contributions. We forget that chances are that our team is going to place themselves in theory Y. And if they do, then tapping into the creativity, the ingenuity, the direction, the responsibility, the accountability, tapping into those is what's going to change the dynamic. And I want to ask you this: what is your team dynamic? What are the team dynamics right now in your team? What's going on there? And especially if you look at roles, who does what and when and how? And that's an important question, especially when it comes to teams, because right now it's not about the leader that's isolated at the top. Stop doing that. Stop being the leader that isolates themselves. Stop being the leader that thinks that they're the parent of the team, because that gives you the distance, that doesn't allow you to build that communication. And you wonder why it's not easy to communicate, because people don't come to you. They don't feel at ease to contribute ideas or to even share concerns or worries, or maybe breakthrough ideas that might be seeming wild ideas in the beginning, but they don't feel comfortable sharing anything. Why is that? That's one of the risks that you put yourself that at risk when you start parenting your team as a leader. So remember that as a leader, you are still part of the team. You're not, don't stop putting yourself somewhere above in a cloud, because you cannot function like that. And especially now, we moved away from that leadership, the authority leadership, where the leader was supposed to be that know-it-all that had all of the answers. It's not that anymore. That's why you have talent on your team. That's why you're choosing the great talented people to join you. You're asking them to join you based on their skills and their motivation and their talent and what they're bringing and everything that they're bringing, only to suppress that with parenting afterwards, where they don't feel it's safe to contribute anymore. And then we wonder why our people aren't motivated, why they're not communicating effectively, why I feel that there's no engagement whenever we talk, that they just say yes, but they don't really believe that that's the option, but they're not sharing the solution that they think about. Why do you think that happens? Because we have suppressed all that. When we start parenting as leaders, it's not going to work long term, because it's all about who takes the helm and when. Because that's why everyone is there. Remember, they want to contribute. They want to feel seen and heard and valued. They want to feel that their contribution is valuable. That is what motivates all of us. At the end of the day, when we talk about motivation, we talk about internal motivation first. Apart from money and a nice work environment and all the rest, that falls under the safety category. But apart from that, if I don't feel that what I'm bringing every day on the job is valuable, that's when I'm going to stop contributing and I'm going to stop communicating. And that's when it becomes just a job. And that's when maybe I'm going to start looking somewhere else where I don't feel it's just a job, where I feel that it's interesting and that I grow as a person. We're all about growth. We as people, we need to grow. We feel that need to grow. And that is the motivation. That's the motivation that you want to tap into. So I have more questions for you, but hear me out. You might not be parenting your team. Maybe you see somebody else who does, and you might want to help them understand what it is that they're doing, and understand that this is exactly the reason why they're complaining, that there's no communication in the team, that there's no motivation, that I don't know what to do. I want to motivate. By the way, you want to motivate. How do you motivate? What questions are you asking your team members? Are you asking questions, or are you just jumping straight into solutions as a leader? And think about some of these questions, because maybe you answer yes to a few of them. Like, when are you parenting your team? Because it can be that in different circumstances, in different situations, you find yourself that you step into that parent role for your team. So it's good to understand when that happens, because that's when you can pay attention to what it is that you're saying and what it is that you're doing when you step into that parenting mode. And only then can you start to begin to think, okay, what do I want to do differently? And how am I going to do things differently? So note things down. That's one thing that I totally recommend for you. Note things down. What is it that you're saying? What is it that you're doing? And when you're stepping into that parenting mode. Because that is, if I'm going to use a strong word, toxic. Midterm and long term. And maybe short term, that's going to be bearable. But long term, don't expect motivation and engagement and contributions and great communication with your team. And that in turn, let me tell you, erodes trust. There's no way you can build trust if you don't help your people understand what it is that they are valued for in the team. This is, they're adults, they know their stuff. This is what you brought them on the team for. And when do you start? You have to pin a date. Like, after you've gone through the list and took some notes, when are you going to start to do things differently? Because you have to notice, it's important that you work towards a deadline and then start doing things differently, get different results, and start seeing the results and compare with what's been happening before and what's happening after, and see what results you're getting and what benefits you're getting. And that is going to make you into a more successful leader. That's going to help you build yourself as a dream boss that builds a dream team. A dream boss doesn't mean you're alone in the leadership role. A dream boss means that everyone on the team feels absolutely at ease to step into a leadership role whenever they can take the helm, because that's their expertise, that's their contribution, and they will be happy to take that responsibility because they know they will be appreciated for that. All right. So that being said, what I also want to say to you, we are going to have a live workshop. So register for the live workshop. It's coming up on August 19th at 12:30 p.m. And it's all about the 3 must-have communication skills for successful dream team leaders. Okay, it just comes out. I didn't put it there, but it's there. Like, this is what I find a lot of you want. You want to become that dream boss. It was all about, think about it. When you started working, it was all about the dream. It wasn't about a nightmare, right? I don't want to be in a nightmare when I'm leading a team into a nightmare. No, I want to be a dream boss. I want to have a good life. I want to be a successful leader. I want people to remember me for something. That's the kind of spirit that I see in so many of you. Is like, I want to leave a legacy in place. I want people to benefit from everything that I'm bringing. think about it. This is what your team also wants. This is what your team members want. They want to leave their legacy. So stop parenting your team, help them lead as well. Leave that legacy in place, leave your legacy in place so that you all feel successful. That's it. Join me. I will share the link for registration for the live workshop in the comments. Join me on August 19th as we we dive deep into the 3 must-have communication skills so that you get to improve that team communication and motivation and build yourself up as a successful dream boss and team leader. Awesome. Thank you for joining. Let me know in the comments if you have more questions. I'm happy to answer. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And see you in the live workshop. Bye-bye for now.